How's my sound now? I wasn't set up on computer. Is it better on my phone here?
Sounds good to me, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we should be live on oh, you don't need to change the image right now. Just go ahead and go live. Let's just go ahead and do it. But I'm already changing it. Too late. Okay, we're going. Go live. I guess we'd call it a chat and interview topic. Okay.
Right.
Go live. Yeah, because they don't have like a cryptocurrency, whatever, live. Co-host is now available. I can invite up to 3 live creators. Really? What's this?
You don't need 2 live creators. You just need me.
I know. I just need you. That's all I need right now. Okay, we are, let's see, live on YouTube. And we are live on TikTok. Megan, if you wouldn't mind watching the chat over on YouTube, I will watch the chat over on TikTok here. Okay.
Is it easier?
Welcome, everyone. What's that?
Is it easier if I just move over to TikTok? It seems like
it's up to you. You'll probably be interacting more via TikTok because we'll watch the chats there.
Okay, I'm just gonna hop over there then.
Okay, sounds good.
Good.
1 minute.
Okay.
Okay, so when do we start? I'm ready to vibe it up.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our treasure talk with Our Lady of the Loot, Billy Marie. I'm just going to hand it right over to you, Billy.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, like Deborah said, welcome to Treasure Talk. This is our roughly fortnightly talk on cryptocurrency and what we're doing with it over at Llamaskar. We're doing them like every moon, so the new moon and the full moon as part of our Lunar Llamas event. We'll be giving the update on the crypto side. So, I've often heard a phrase that money is the root of all evil. And I don't know that I fully agree with that. I think greed is the root of all evil. And so we came up with a way to solve that. Because over at Llamaskar, if money is the root of all evil, then Muladhara is the root of all chakras, and Llama Loot is the cryptocurrency of our land. So that's our solution. So what is Llama Loot? Like, what is cryptocurrency? I know I'm probably going to be covering that a few times, just going over the basics, because I know we're going to have new people joining and looking, maybe a refresher for people who've heard it before. But, cryptocurrency, it's money on the internet, baby. It is the future. It is like dollars and cents, but it's all bits and bytes. And we can trade them around. There's no government man involved. It's just us llamas. So that's what Llama Loot is. It is our unique digital token exclusively for the Llamaskar community. And we can use it to trade value and energy amongst ourselves. We use it to show ownership in the community. And it operates in its own ecosystem, separate from the rest of the financial world, so that we can have something to trade, something to hold, something to value that is separate from dollars, is separate from Wall Street and financial speculators and all of that nonsense. So it's something that we are going to use as a way to, basically stake our teachers. So our first round of teachers, in the very near future, we're going to be giving everyone teaching with us a stake. I don't know the exact amount, but some some pile of llama loot that they can go ahead and hold on to. And it's kind of like stock options with a traditional company. It's something that they can have to say like, yes, I own this much of the community. Like I have this much of the, energetic existence of the community. Because I like to think about it that way. Our community is just a bunch of people. That's really what makes it strong. If there's no people, there's no community. And so that's a way to kind of put it down in a ledger, to like write down what we have and, just have a written way to value one another and what we get. So I made myself a few talking points here just to go over the benefits of this. So we're going to be doing that. And we're also going to allow our members to earn it for participating in the community. Like when we're holding classes, show up to lives, get interactive, show us that there's living, human, breathing beings out there who want to come see this stuff. We love that. Get online, participate in our discussions, respond to polls and questions, and, get out there on the social medias and like talk it up. Do you like Llamaskar? Bring a friend. Do you know a cool, dope teacher who's got something like quirky and unique, and you just know they've got to share it, but you don't know where? Like, bring them on in. We'll maybe give you a little bounty for that. But with our own social token, with our own currency, we can go ahead and like reward that and value that in our community in a way that is free from like all the nastiness, especially from Wall Street. I hate Wall Street, by the way. So here we go. Here's what I got. Benefits that we get as a community. We can incentivize participation because we're going to use it to reward each other for contributing to the Sangha, to the classes, to the world at large. I know like Seva, right, which is service, is generally supposed to be like, unpaid, unrewarded, I think. But, I think we could do a little bit of that in the Sangha. I think you could get some loot for doing some Seva. That's pretty awesome. Like that spreads, goodness within your community, and we sure want to support that, And this is something that really helps us build community so that when we're giving rewards and, trying to like earn and pay for things, we're just contributing to ourselves. We're not like paying taxes. We're not using someone else's token, I mean, like, I'll have like a few conspiracy theories. Like, just look at a dollar bill. Look at all the imagery on there. Like, do you really want to be supporting that energetically in your spiritual community, using that to represent your value? Ew. We like llamas instead. They're way cuter, way better money. Yeah, exactly. My next point knew what I was talking about. Alignment with values. Llama loot reflects the core values of Llamaskar, emphasizing reciprocity, positive contributions, and elevation of the community's collective vibe. It also prevents the speculation. It keeps, I know when I first heard about cryptocurrency, I was highly suspicious. I didn't even think it was like something I really cared about, because all I heard was people wanting to like get rich quick, make a big investment, pump and dump, all that stuff. So we've actually made a choice with our Llama Loot to keep it disconnected from financial exchanges. So there is no exchange rate. That way we can keep unwanted speculation out and make sure that our loot retains its intended purpose, aligning with the values of our own community ecosystem. And, lastly, and super awesome, accessibility. It lets us open our doors to people who might not have the financial resources to come in otherwise. It lets you come in and do something that we, as a Llamaskar herd, value, and you can join and play that way. That way you're not getting a free ride. You don't have to feel bad about your membership. We don't want to have to charge people things they can't afford, but we don't just want to hand out freebies. because that doesn't really raise them up. You know, I know if I'm getting a freebie, I kind of feel bad about it. I feel guilty. I might not even use it to its fullest potential. So we want to do that. We want to hand out, we want to have this community driven value token so people can participate regardless of their traditional financial situations. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I love this. So I did this thing with like the chatbot, like I did some AI stuff here. I told it all about Llama Loot because it knew nothing. And I really love what it spit back at me. This is so cool. Llama Loot is a powerful tool that strengthens the bonds of the Llamaskar community, encourages active involvement, and promotes positive, supporting environment for all members. Thank you for attending my Llama talk. I mean, my treasure talk. I think that's pretty much what I got. You know, this is still really new. We are going to be rolling this out hard as the Llamaskar community launches more fully in, I don't know, the future. Whenever that may be, whatever we may or may not announce, whenever we do or don't. But that's my update. That's my treasure talk. How are we in the comments? Anybody raging, celebrating, questioning?
We've got a lot of celebrating. And let's see. You got we got chats about a community farm, about being the come as you are philosophy, about needing some dollar bills, about having great quality content. Overall, Billy, I love the way that you and Chat GPT describe Llama Loot, because it is. It's so like, this isn't just about minting a dollar bill, right? This isn't just like, oh, we need more value, so we're going to make more value from this arbitrary thing. We're using the value we already have and putting a coin to it. And I think that that's a really big difference between like what the fiat money in the US does versus what we're doing is the opposite direction, right? We are taking our intrinsic value of our members, of our teachers, of our classes, of our content, of, you know, all of the stuff that our community already has, the value in it already. And then we're saying this has enough value that we're going to trade it. We're going to put it into something that we can trade, that we can share, that we can use to, you said, you know, buy services, right? So an example of how this works is that as a member in Llamaskar, if you go and if you show up to attend class, we can reward you with these Llama Loot tokens for attending class. Now, let's say you attend every single class on the schedule for an entire week. You may have earned enough to, let's see, I think that's enough. I think you can earn enough just by attending a week of classes to cover your membership. And then you go and share a social media post. And then you happen to drive by a llama in somebody's backyard. So you stop and take a photo. You submit that to our community, right? And now suddenly you have extra tokens. What can you do with these extra tokens? You can buy coaching, right? So I and our other coaches in-house, we do charge externally for dollar bills. We have a dollar bill sign price tag on our services. But if you are a member at Llamaskar and contributing to the value of Llamaskar, then you can use your loot to trade the value you're contributing to the community in trade for those services. So it's really just a way to quantify the value that already exists within our community. And it's such an awesome process that we are going through, and the fact that we are doing it from that perspective instead of bringing loot in to add value, but instead using the loot to quantify the value that we already have.
Oh yeah, that is a beautiful way to put it. I'm stealing that.
Do it.
But you reminded me, actually, talking about what would you spend your extra loot on? I know we do have some other fun ideas in the pipeline. I'm sure everybody at this point has heard of NFTs.
Explain, please, because I've
Yeah.
heard it, but that doesn't make it just letters to me right now.
So, yeah, it's kind of like, I think, basically they're like, let's just say like online art. It's sort of like, I mean, in a really boring way, it's kind of like a title deed, really. It's almost like a deed to a car, but just it exists online the same way the cryptocurrency does. But it can have stuff attached to it. So we've been kind of like, we can do various types of collectibles. Like if we wanted to do some sort of, we could do like trading card style stuff. Um, you could buy a special llama avatar to use on Llamaskar and elsewhere on the internet that you have like exclusive rights to. And if anyone else starts using it, you can like digitally spit on them because you have the NFT. You own it. They don't.
Llamas do like to spit. So,
Yeah.
we do have,
So,
we do have a couple of questions here. Billy is kind of talking about having taken a class in the past and not completely understanding the fungible, fungible.
non-fungible.
Yes. Can you elaborate a little bit on what non-fungible tokens, and is that what we're using? Is that what's, yeah.
So NFT is the term for, it means non-fungible token.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to a fungible token. So for instance, in this case, Llama Loot is a fungible token. And fungibility means that like every Llama Loot is the same as everything else. Currency is fungible, like $1, it doesn't matter. My dollar is as good as your dollar. We can trade them. No one cares. It's all the same. So like the Llama Loot, that is a fungible token. So those operate like money in that sense, that it's just how many do you have? That's all that matters. They're all identical. A non-fungible token is going to be something that's like got some uniqueness to it.
Okay, so that makes sense when we're using little graphics and stuff that we're creating.
Yeah,
Right.
It can be a completely unique thing, like, like you could do one. Really, I could see someday in the future that that's how we hold like titles to things, like because
Okay.
it could be that to say like, this is my proof of ownership of one unique thing. It can also be a set of things, like the way that like art is a really good example because that's kind of the first way that they got used. But you could have a run, you could have a printing, right? Or a minting is the term used for NFTs of, like 500 pieces. And so there's only going to be 500 NFTs for a certain thing.
So would that be similar to the way that we can maybe divide up the stock of Llamaskar itself and say Llamaskar is divided into 500 non-fungible 500 NFTs, and then to own a stake in Llamaskar could be through an NFT?
No, that's kind of more,
No?
that's what the social token itself is. Because that like, that's to say like that is the value. Because the only thing to own in Llamaskar is the community energy.
Right, right.
So, and that's something that's typically done in a fungible fashion because that's just a percentage of it.
Okay.
So the non-fungible aspect would be something, yeah, it relates to like if I have one type of NFT and you have a different type, they're not the same. And even
Okay.
if we had two within the same, if we had two copies of the same thing, they'd have a different serial number.
Okay.
So that
All
would
right.
be, that means that everyone is a little bit different somehow.
Starting to build the conceptualization of it in my brain.
I don't know why that particular term of fungible and non-fungible. I don't know if that's like a financial technical term, or if that was I think it is because I don't recognize it from computers.
Yeah.
So I think that's a financial term, but that's what it means is like the fungible is like money where everything's the same and you can combine it, because you could take like $5 bills, get a $5 bill, and that's all the same. Like that's all the same, it's basically doesn't matter. The fungible or non-fungible is when it's like, you think about it as like unique items,
Okay.
which
So,
is what end up being like
you,
collectibles and stuff. Oh, you know what I forgot to mention that
What's
we
that?
are thinking about doing with NFTs that's really cool is using those to sell access to classes, right?
okay,
Which is something that I think is really neat. Because in addition to our monthly memberships, we do want to package up some like workshops that we have and sell those so people can access them whenever.
right.
And we are thinking to do that as an NFT. And so in that case, the NFT, that non-fungible token, that's like a key or like a pass to access that class content. So your computer has to have that thing, that key card in it to get to the class.
Ah, okay. So
So
that
in
we
that
can
case,
code NFTs sort of like that too.
right. So then that NFT will only get you access to that class.
Right.
And you could buy like 5 passes to the same class and it doesn't get you into any other class. It'll still
Okay.
be the same one.
We have a question here from Billy. Is there an exchange rate between cash and llama loot? I know you touched on that briefly. Can you kind of expand on that and what the choices, why we made what choices we did?
No, there is not an exchange rate. That's actually pretty simple. We may, for people who are impatient, who maybe have a lot of dollars, we might be able to sell a pack of llama loot, but it's going to be a lot more the way that things go in video games. Like if any of you have had any interaction with like Fortnite's a big one, buying the V-Bucks. Like if you have kids who play that game, I'm sure you know about it. I've seen it in Roblox. You can buy Robux. On like the old Nintendo consoles, you'd buy like virtual coins with them. We might do something like that to
Okay.
sell people an amount of llama loot, but it's going to be like a one-way thing. There is no exchange rate.
Right. I
Because we
can't take my
don't-
coins from Roblox and go cash them in at my local Bank of America.
Right. Exactly. And we're trying to keep it separate. That's what I was saying about keeping the financial speculators out. Because
Okay.
otherwise, like you can YouTube it, like look up social tokens and everything you're going to find, it's like 90% like investment opportunities, which one to buy, which one's the highest rate of return. And that's nothing that we want. We don't want that for our llama loot. It's something that we do. We want it to represent our community value. So there is no exchange rate. I cannot put my value as a community member into a dollars and cents. And that's what llama loot is. So it just doesn't exist. We're not connecting it that way. It's something that theoretically it could be done, but we are not choosing to do that because we do want to keep it as a community token.
I could see how that could potentially actually almost lower by quantifying the value in cold hard eyes of economic whatnot, rather than the direction we're coming from and just using the llama loot and the NFTs as a representation of the invaluable value that is
Intrinsic
the
value, that's the word
yes,
you
the
use,
intrinsic
like.
value, the unquantifiable value that is within the community already. Yeah, it's I love the direction we're going, and I really like
So was that clear, Billy? I hope we got through to you. The answer is no, there is not an exchange rate.
I'm waiting for a response here, but it sounds like yes, I think.
Okay, good.
Yes, yep.
Yay.
Okay. Do we have any more questions, anybody, about do we want to talk a little bit more about different ways within the community to earn the so Billy did ask a bit earlier about so the llama loot is there to as a representation of the value within Llamaskar, but we also have Discord. So can you explain the kind of how Discord, why we're having Discord, why we need the Discord, and what that has to do with our llama loot?
Okay, yeah. So, okay, so some of that is a bit of a technical thing. Because to have this stuff to hold on to Llama Loot, like any cryptocurrency, you need some sort of technology to do that because it's an internet thing. So you need like an account somewhere, you need something called a wallet in order to hold that. And um, and also when you move it around, there can be something called gas fees, which is like the transaction fees for moving it around. And we've actually got a couple different setups we can use within Llamaskar so that we can move it around without paying those. So we just get to trade it all we want in our own area. And Discord, in addition to being like a really cool chat service, we've got a plugin that lets you hold Llama Loot with your Discord account. So when you log into our Discord server, there's a little chat bot, there's a bot in there that holds your money for you, that holds your loot. And so we're going to be able to use that. And then we are planning to gamify that a little bit for, you know, people who do want to come in as, like we've said, an energy exchange member, somebody who wants to come in without paying dollars and just straight up earn their membership that way, like by going to every class in a week or something. We're going to be hosting that on our Discord server.
So Discord is kind of like our banking lobby, where Llamaskar is our pasture and our clubhouse and our watering hole, and where we engage and our community is alive and thriving. And then depending on the participation, part of our little llama field here is that we've got Discord as our bank over there. We go over to the bank, comment or share.
It's not the only thing that Discord does, but that is where for members, that's where they're going to go to to pick up their loot. Anyone who earns loot from engaging in things, that's where I'm going to send them. We're going to get you set up over there, and that's where I'll tip you out with it, and that's where we're going to have like the store set up to do.
And that's also the space where if you want to go in. So I love, in my head, I'm imagining that like some future world where our bank is actually, yes, where you go to exchange, but also where you can play these games to earn more money. Like you want to earn more at the bank, here's a console where you go over there and you play your financial literacy game or whatever the heck it is. Here, you've earned dollars in your bank account.
Right. I mean, and I feel like we're doing what a lot of like, the mobile apps are like, things that claim to be free, right? Like Facebook, for instance, right? They're not really free. They're just using your attention and selling that to advertisers.
Right.
And if you come over to Llamaskar, we do ask you to pay for it. And if you don't want to pay in dollars, like we will be a little more transparent with you and say, this is how you can pay us with your attention.
Right.
Like we're not trying to bamboozle you. We want your involvement. We want it authentic.
And
so I think we're really doing something similar. We're just not like BSing about it. We're not trying to lie. We're not pulling the wool over their eyes. We want to comb the wool up out of the llama eyes.
Exactly. So instead of being subversive and using algorithms to boost different things and direct you to what we want you to see, we have an open pasture with the open classes, with that kind of stuff there. And
we'll just tell you what to do. Hey, this is what we care about. This is what builds the community.
Yeah.
But that is what the Discord is for. Discord is where you're going to go to, to collect the loot. The details we're still working out, but basically just you'll come there and like myself or somebody, if I deputize somebody to be, I don't know what a lady of the loot's deputy would be, but if we get too busy, we got to make those like, me or, one of my people will go ahead and hand out your tokens. And then, what I'm thinking is to set up like a little, like just chat room store, and you'll just like, it's not really going to be automated. I think some of that might be kind of, you just come and talk to the person and say, hey, shopkeep, I have so many loot and I would like to buy coaching with Deborah. And then we'll go ahead and do it, set it up from there.
So
And get a
one thing
little
we
more
were,
hands-on, keep the human element, keep the llama element alive.
there is an aspect, I was talking to our Discord liaison there from Roll, and he was talking about the simplicity of basically creating a feed where if you go in and comment on that in that particular room, the tipping bot can keep track of who comments how often and whatnot, and you can even search for like one person's comments within that feed. The tipping bot can automatically tip people just for showing up and commenting. But we can't customize how the tipping bot sends out money. So it would have to be creating a room, unless there's another way to do it. It seems like one of the simple ways is to just create a room, have members go in there, comment when they've done something, either with a screenshot or something like that of the thing they've done. And then we have our bankers, right? Our our loot liaisons in there doling out, okay, you did this, so you get 5 tokens. You did this, you get 15 tokens. You did this, you get 35 tokens. We have to have a real person, a real liaison doing that. So seems simple enough. Keeps the direct communication.
No, that helps. Like, I like that way of thinking about the different ways, because we have often talked about like our, the mighty network that we've been getting people into for Llamaskar, like talking about that as the pasture, right? That's what it's called. And I think, Discord's a little more of the, like quick interactive, like banking lobby. It's going to be also our open hangout lobby, right?
Yep.
Just for, people who just kind of want to come and chat like with us specifically for some reason, they could pop in there.
Without joining Llamaskar yet. So
Yeah.
Billy says that it feels a little weird saying, hey, I did this, now give me something. And Megan goes, but it's so important to owning your own value. Yes. And same way as you would go to
But Billy, don't think about it as begging. You're not begging for a reward. You can come in and proudly say, like, yeah, I did this.
Yeah.
Because, it's going to be like, no, that's awesome. That is so cool that you did that. I, as the Lady of the Loot, will be so thrilled to hear about the ways that you help the community, the way that you raise the vibe. It's about that. Like, I don't want you to come in like asking for it's not like asking for a paycheck. It's to come in and be really happy about what you did.
Right.
And then we're really happy to reward that and give you something that you can use within the community to bring it up even higher.
I think you can think of it too like an intentional community or a egalitarian community where everybody is part of the process of taking care of the farm, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, taking care of the animals and whatnot. And at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, there's a chart board. There's a chart up there on the board that says, here are all the tasks that needs to be done for the day. If you want to pick up a task and help out, pick up a task. And when you're done, you put a check mark on that box. So the llama loot are like the check marks to say, hey, I did these tasks. And it's, it's, again, like you said, it's not going to an employer and saying, please pay me what I'm worth because I've done X amount of hours of work. It's, we are all building this community together, and we love to celebrate the ways that we're building the community together. When Megan and I
be intentional about it, really, like that's one of those mindfulness practices that I find really helpful, right? To just to practice talking about what you're doing. It's like that on the community level. Because otherwise, what are we going to do? Set up robot spies to report back and say what you're doing?
That's the big thing. We don't want that. We don't want this energy exchange to feel like it's a job or it's a burden or it's pressure. We want it to be an enjoyable engagement. Again, that's why we make it things like showing up to class. Showing up to class benefits you because you showed up to class and you enjoy, if you hopefully enjoy the content and whatnot, right? So we give you a token for doing that. And for any of the other things that we would otherwise be doing, with whether or not the tokens exist. You're in Llamaskar to show up to class. And if you like the content, you share it on social media. So it's just another way for us to say thank you. Maybe that's it. It's another way for us to say thank you to our members.
Yeah, it's a way to say thank you. And it's to recognize the intrinsic value, to take these things that you're doing. Because, part of it, what I realized thinking about this is that, it's about representing the value of our community, and to say all these things that we're doing, they matter.
Yeah.
So we're going to write it down. Like, we are going to put a number on it. It's not in dollars, it's in Llama Loot. But we're going to put a number on it. We're going to say, hey, it's worthwhile to show up to class. Because it is, right? Like, anybody who's like, run a class, they know you want more people there. Anybody who's been to like a Zoom class, like, what does it feel like if you go to a Zoom class and you're like the only student in there? It can be a little awkward, right? As a student, you want other people there with you. And like, I would say, just start thinking about it that way. Be like, no, this is something people want to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
And it's to just recognize that to be mindful of it, and to go ahead and put a value to that, like to write down that, no, that is cool. That's a cool thing that you've been doing.
And I like that we are leaning or gearing up to create this like role player game, RPG sort of gaming side to it, because the whole gaming piece will be also centered around mindfulness, self-improvement, positive, habits, that kind of stuff. So we're rewarding you for adding value to your own life, not just our community, but adding value to your own life, doing things. Imagine if I have this talk with my son often about chores and about allowance and whatnot. And I was like, imagine if somebody just came in and gave me a reward. It doesn't have to be money, rewarded me every time I did the dishes, every time I made my bed, every time I put my laundry away, right? These are things that are good for me. But with my son, I explain, the intrinsic value. There's a value in there that we have a clean space and we feel good about it. But when they're that young, it doesn't always really compute. And they're like, what do you mean? I don't care that there's a clean space or not. I don't care if my clothes are put away or not. But this is kind of is like, if there was a way for the universe to reward you, or you to get more tangible reward for doing the things that are good for you, it helps build those habits until you build that intrinsic value way down the line where you're like meditating. It has an intrinsic value because now I do it every day because I can feel that intrinsic value. But when you first start to change habits, sometimes it doesn't feel good. Sometimes the habit change is annoying and frustrating and you don't want to keep doing it. So having that little bit of reward too can be a motivator. And so in that way too, Llama Loot is also a motivator.
And we've got to do that. Like, that's our way of like, because there's so many forces out there distracting you from that. There's so many instant rewards for doing the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
The world's full of them. So, just if you can't beat them, join them, I guess, right? Like, realizing today as I'm like, no, wait a minute. We're doing the same thing. Like, we're actually fighting fire with fire here. We're saying, no, we want to, instead of being sneaky about paying you for your attention, we're just going to do it openly, loud and proud. And because doing all the wrong things gives you so many rewards. That's how the world is. It's set up to instant gratification. And we know as mindful people, as spiritual people, that there's a long-term reward. But like, gosh, we got these monkey minds that want right now.
Yeah.
So we want to give you right now. We want to give you the right now, or quick, close to it, and help you stay on that path until
How many of us pick up the phone and start tapping on our Candy Crush to earn those coins on Candy Crush that don't convert to dollar bills at all? And in fact, sometimes I pay dollar bills to get more coins to up my level, to finish my level, to cheat, whatnot. Like, and that distraction is not actually really serving me much at all. It's a distraction. It maybe helps me disconnect, helps me quiet my mind for a minute, but there's only so much real intrinsic value in that. It's falsified value. And like you're saying, there's a lot of at least Western culture that is falsified value in our in our social media friendships, right? In our fast food and preservative laden stuff and like chemical laden whatnot, like there's a lot of ways that we think we're getting the proper nutrition, friendships, career, pay, housing, but these are so many of these are actually falsified and not really serving our needs. So I think we are radical in that way, that we're flipping that on its head and saying, we're going to reward you for doing the things that are intrinsically valuable, instead of just telling you, no, you just have to like, don't eat chocolate cake because it's bad for you. You just have to suffer through it. No, we want to help you create a better habit that even in the very beginning, when it's nerve-wracking and difficult and you need support, that you've got that support there. And that's part of Llama Loot as well as part of the Llamaskar as a whole.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Alright.
catching up on comments here.
Good.
Megan says we need to gamify it now, or she's not doing it. Let's see. And Billy, again, thank you so much. Billy is just singing the praises of Llamaskar in here. We are so grateful for your presence too, Billy. We benefit as a collective, right? When we lift one person up, we all rise together. And I think that it's really wonderful that we have this space to do that. And that we've got amazing people like you, like Our Lady of the Loot here, like Megan, like Chase, like all of our other members, Emily, all of you other wonderful. I know we've got 180 members. I can't name every single one of them, but I love every one of you llamas. If the, do you guys have any other questions? Billy, I feel like we covered most of the topics here. Was there anything left that you wanted to talk about or that came up while we were chatting?
No. If there's anything else, I've totally forgotten about it today.
Okay.
So for anything else, tune in next time. Like I said, I'm doing these treasure talks on every moon transit. So, within Llamaskar in general, we've got our lunar llamas, right?
Yeah.
Program, if you will, I don't know, thing. I'm losing the words right now. But
it's our live event. So at 4 o'clock, we are going live with our in-house Firefly Mystic, Jersey Moon. He's going to be leading our Lunar Llamas event. I'm going to be joining him to talk about astrology a little bit, talk about the different planet transitions and whatnot. We will be offering a mudra and a little meditation during that as well. And Jersey Moon is going to talk about crystals and other tools that you can use to harness the energies of this new moon. It's a new moon in Virgo, but there's a lot of other stuff going on. So we will tell you all about that. Once 4 o'clock rolls around, we'll be live again, right here on TikTok, right here on YouTube, right here on Zoom for all you lovely llamas who are here with us. And Emily says, I love the shit out of you guys. I really do. We love you too, Emily.
Awesome.
All right, my friends.
So come back for Jeffrey's event, Jersey Moon. He's awesome. And we'll see you in the full moon.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you again, Billy, our lovely Lady of the Loot. And we'll see you on the full moon.